Welcome to the special edition of Roar TV. Some breaking news right now. Russia has decided to invade Ukraine last night, so we're going to be covering a lot of that today. It's pretty bad over there. There's already been 40 fatalities in total from what we know. Russia started bombing Ukraine last night in like Eastern Europe, where they've been kind of having troops there for a while now. It's like bombings all over and everything. Like there's some bombings in Kyiv and also just mostly Eastern Ukraine right now. But there's like reason to believe that like one of their main targets is a little town called Kherson, kind of near the bottom of like the river that connects to the Black Sea. So that's like that's a really big for importing and exporting a lot of like goods out of Ukraine. So like it's directly connected to the Black Sea, and this little town is kind of right on the bottom of it. And if they were to take that and also take Kharkiv, which is kind of Eastern Europe, like a little bit northern of like the map, they'll probably take about a good third of like Eastern Ukraine, and so then they'll have like up in here in Kharkiv, it's a very like rich agricultural area, like one of the best in the world. So they'll have control of a lot of agricultural like flow as well as like income and like exporting and all that. So they'll put a pretty big chokehold on Ukraine and its economy, which will probably make it crumble like near like Kyiv, like up north a little bit, which is like their country's capital. Yeah, people have been evacuating like all day and all night. It's pretty crazy over there right now. There's live footage from like Russia and everything. Like tanks are already moving down this road. It's like 25 miles from the border of Ukraine, and they're just like sending like tanks and missiles and just everything. A lot is going through this like one road in Russia. It's going all the way, 25 miles, I think, to the Ukraine border. And so that's like their main way of getting tanks in right now. Also around Poland, the U.S. has around 30,000 troops, I want to say. I'm not too sure. But right now they're helping like people like leave Ukraine and everything, head into Poland. It's kind of a part of NATO. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. Probably should have looked that up before. But yeah, so the U.S. is not going into Ukraine right now. And that's why up here in Belarus, Russia has a lot of troops, and they're not really putting anything into Poland. Yeah, this kind of all started because like U.S. and the U.K. are really pushing for Ukraine to join NATO, and Russia did not want like NATO troops in Eastern Europe, kind of like near the border of like Russia. They didn't like they're like not allies, so they didn't want that. As well as a pipeline going through Germany, like from Germany straight to Russia, because Russia like harbors one of like the biggest like oil like rigs like industries in the world. They maintain a lot of oil, and so this pipeline would have given I think 35% more, something like that. I was reading earlier straight from Germany, and so a lot of NATO like countries were kind of like trying to cancel this like pipeline. It's going on for like a couple months now. So they wanted to directly like stop the flow, because then Russia would have been in charge of a lot of oil. It would not be good for one country to hold. And Ukraine was kind of against this as well. And Russia did not like that at all, because, it's halting their economy as well. So that's kind of a little bit of some backstory there. But it's mostly because it was a lot of NATO stuff and they didn't want troops there. As well as just disagreements overall, like towards the Black Sea and everything, I'm pretty sure. But it's just a lot of troops kind of all around, like especially down in like Belarus, like Crimea, and like Moldova, just kind of to the left of Ukraine. So just a lot of places on the Black Sea is they're coming like through sea, air, and land. It's pretty bad over there right now. But the attacks probably began around 5 a.m. in Ukraine, like their time. Like from what I saw, at least. It was around 5:15. A lot of reports started coming in around 5:15 in the morning from Ukraine, where there was like at least 5 explosions, like kind of Eastern Europe and Kyiv, which is northern. I don't know if the map's up right now, but it's pretty bad over there right now. Justin Trudeau hasn't made any statements yet about it. I'm pretty sure Australia, Japan, and Germany have, as well as the U.S. Biden talked to some officials this morning about what's going on over there, but he's made it very clear that if Russia does invade, they'll do something about it. But I don't know how long that will take, as right now I think their main focus is just getting people out of Ukraine and into Poland, which is kind of a safe place for them where they can get to other countries. So we'll see what happens, but if anything were to happen, America would probably come through Poland or kind of like Western Europe more instead of the East, because Russia obviously. But I've seen some things saying like China may, like this is like a good opportunity for China to take Taiwan. I don't know too much about that or anything going on there, so I'm not going to speak on that or if it's true or not. But it's who knows what's going to happen now, because we nothing, everything's up in the air right now. We don't really know what's going to happen. This definitely won't end in a day, and we're waiting on Canada to make any type of announcement at all, or Justin Trudeau at least. But Canada does have some like big fish to fry right now as well with the trucking protest and all that. So it's definitely a kind of a big place for Canada right now, like a really dark spot, because we need to make an announcement about this war as well as deal with these like in-country protests, which I feel like Justin Trudeau may be prioritizing right now, just because it's inside of our country, and we don't really have too much affiliation right now with like the Ukraine war and what's going on over there, more as like America would. But if everything goes to war, chances are Canada will say something about it and maybe get involved a little, but they definitely would not be as like engaged as U.S. is right now. I feel like that's their main concern, because they were really pushing for Ukraine to join NATO, and that would have helped, like especially because then they could bring troops in there and like kind of have them in Ukraine waiting for Russia. But I'm not too sure what's going on now with all that. But it's really just Russia does not like NATO, and they did not want troops near Ukraine. I know they had troops in Eastern Europe. They were just calling it like training grounds, but it was really just them just pushing a bunch of troops there just to make sure. And the invasion was started, and Putin called it a tactical like war mission, or like tactical military mission or something, to cover it up. And I know there was apparently a Ukrainian like news place was like getting like told, like paid off or told not to report on it from some sources in Russia, and they were claiming that their news articles were fake about the bombings and explosions. But nobody knows really what they're saying is fake or anything. They all know it's like true, because obviously everybody's been reporting on it now. So I guess they don't, inside of Ukraine, I guess the media wouldn't be as strong right now because of everything going on. So it's definitely very crazy right now, and we'll give you guys live updates of what's going on. I can't really check right now because I'm in front, or else I would be. But it's, I've said all I know, and let's hope it doesn't get any worse. But yeah, thanks for watching.